Imagine sitting alone in a quiet room, your mind replaying years of memories that once seemed so normal, so safe. You remember the smiles, the laughter, the words that once felt like love, but beneath them, a web of manipulation was quietly taking shape. For a long time, you questioned yourself, wondering if you were too sensitive, if you were imagining things, if maybe it was all in your head. Then one day, almost unexpectedly, they speak. Every lie, every manipulation, every subtle cruelty they carefully hid for so long is finally confessed. The words hit you like a storm, shaking everything you thought you knew. There's shock, there's disbelief, and there's a strange, undeniable validation. All the times you doubted your instincts, all the moments you felt unseen or gaslit, they were real. Every instinct you ignored was correct, and every feeling you had mattered. And in that moment, standing between disbelief and relief, you realize something profound. This confession is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of reclaiming it. It's a moment that forces you to confront the past, understand your strength, and begin to rebuild a life defined not by their manipulation, but by your clarity, resilience, and self-worth. When a narcissist finally admits to every manipulation, every lie, every betrayal, the first reaction is almost always shock. It's as if the reality you've been sensing for months or years has suddenly been spelled out in plain words. There's a part of your brain that resists believing it. How could someone who once smiled at you, who once seemed so sincere, have done all of these things intentionally? The dissonance is immense. For years, you may have doubted yourself. You may have wondered if you were overreacting, being too sensitive, or imagining things. And suddenly, the truth is in front of you, undeniable. Shock is not just a fleeting moment. It's a deep, physical reaction. You might feel your chest tighten, your stomach drop, or your mind race through memories you tried to forget. Every little incident that once seemed trivial now aligns into a painful pattern. What felt like isolated moments of tension or confusion now reveal themselves as deliberate actions. The shock can make you feel unmoored, like your sense of reality has shifted overnight. But this disorientation is a natural part of processing such a profound revelation. At the same time, there is a strange, almost contradictory sensation: validation. For so long, you may have questioned your instincts. You may have tried to rationalize behaviors, telling yourself it wasn't that bad, that maybe you misunderstood. Narcissists are experts at making others doubt themselves, at twisting situations so that the blame seems to fall on you. When they confess, that self-doubt starts to crumble. What you felt, what you sensed, what you remembered was real. This validation can be liberating. It confirms that your intuition, your feelings, and your struggles were legitimate. Validation in this context is not just about feeling right. It's about reclaiming a part of yourself that was systematically undermined. For so long, you may have felt invisible, unheard, or manipulated into believing you were overreacting. Hearing the confession makes the invisible visible. It acknowledges your pain without requiring you to defend or explain it. It's a recognition of the reality you lived through. Even if it comes from someone who caused harm, this acknowledgement has a profound impact on your psyche. But shock and validation often coexist in a messy, uncomfortable way. You might feel relief that the truth is out, yet anger at the realization of how long it took and how much harm was done. You may grieve the time, energy, and trust you invested in someone who used it against you. These emotions can appear simultaneously, making the experience overwhelming. It's a reminder that emotional healing is rarely linear. Shock and validation are intertwined, and they force you to confront both the reality of the abuse and the depth of your own resilience. Another layer of complexity is the cognitive dissonance that arises. The person who confessed might have been charming, loving, or convincing in the past. Reconciling that image with the truth of their actions is challenging. It forces a confrontation with your own memories and perceptions. You realize that your mind protected you in certain ways, that denial and rationalization were survival tools. This realization is part of the shock, but it also reinforces validation. Your mind, despite everything, never completely lost sight of the truth. It's also important to understand that this shock can trigger physical and emotional reactions that feel intense or confusing. Your body may respond with tension, restlessness, or fatigue. Emotionally, you might cycle between disbelief, anger, sadness, and even cautious relief. Allowing yourself to feel these reactions is crucial. Suppressing them often prolongs the confusion. Shock is not a sign of weakness. It's a natural response to recognizing the depth of deception and betrayal you endured. Finally, the validation that comes with the confession can be a pivotal turning point in your healing journey. It doesn't erase the pain or undo the past, but it confirms that your experience mattered. It affirms that you were not imagining the manipulations, that you were not the problem. Shock opens the door, validation invites you to step through, and together they create the first real opportunity to reclaim clarity, confidence, and self-trust. Accountability is something most people expect when someone has caused harm, but with a narcissist, it's rarely straightforward. They are skilled at avoiding responsibility, at deflecting blame, and at making others feel at fault. When a narcissist finally confesses, it is almost never because they truly want to own up to their actions. More often, it comes after long delays, pressure, or circumstances that make hiding the truth impossible. Understanding this dynamic is crucial because it frames the confession in the proper context. Delayed accountability often feels like a puzzle. For years, you may have tried to hold them responsible, only to be met with denials, gaslighting, or clever explanations that made you question your memory or judgment. Every attempt to get honesty from them could have been met with charm, outrage, or silence. And yet, one day, seemingly out of nowhere, the truth emerges. The timing of that confession can feel almost strategic. It might come when they are trying to repair their public image, when consequences loom too large to ignore, or when they perceive an advantage in revealing what they did. This delay can be incredibly frustrating for the person who suffered. You might feel as though the narcissist is controlling the narrative, even after the fact. Their timing can feel manipulative, as if they are holding the truth over you, giving or withholding it at will. The realization that the confession is not necessarily a gesture of genuine remorse can be difficult to accept. It forces you to disentangle their motives from your own need for closure. Understanding this distinction is an important step in reclaiming your emotional power. When accountability is delayed, it also means that the harm has had more time to take root. Every year, every month, every interaction that was laced with manipulation or deceit has compounded the emotional toll. You may have internalized guilt, questioned your instincts, or felt isolated. The confession, while validating, comes after these years of impact. It does not undo the damage, and it does not make up for the lost time or energy you devoted to someone who exploited your trust. Recognizing the timing of accountability is part of understanding the full scope of the experience. It's also common for delayed accountability to feel incomplete. A narcissist may admit to certain actions while omitting others, minimize their role, or frame their behavior as a reaction to you. This selective acknowledgement can leave you grappling with a mixture of relief and frustration. You might feel validated in some ways, but still left with unanswered questions. Learning to navigate this partial honesty requires trust in your own perceptions rather than in the full truth of their words. The psychological effect of delayed accountability is profound. For the survivor, it can trigger a cascade of reflection, anger, and grief. You revisit old interactions with new clarity, noticing patterns that were previously hidden. You realize just how calculated certain behaviors were, how skillfully the narcissist manipulated perceptions and emotions. This awareness can be painful, but it also strengthens your ability to recognize manipulation in the future. It sharpens your instincts and reinforces the importance of setting firm boundaries. Delayed accountability also highlights the narcissist's avoidance of empathy. Their confession is often not about feeling remorse or considering your pain. It's a final step in managing their own image, reducing exposure to consequences, or achieving some internal or external goal. Understanding this helps you separate their acknowledgement from your own healing. Your growth and recovery do not depend on their genuine remorse. They depend on your ability to reclaim clarity, trust your experience, and rebuild your sense of self-worth. Ultimately, the delay in accountability teaches an important lesson about power and control. A narcissist uses time as a tool, both to avoid consequences and to manipulate perception. When they finally confess, it's a pivotal moment, but not necessarily a generous one. It is an opportunity to witness the truth, to validate your experience, and to solidify the boundaries you need to protect yourself. The timing may not be ideal, and the confession may not be complete, but it can still serve as a turning point in your journey toward understanding, empowerment, and healing. When a narcissist finally confesses to all the harm they caused, the first thing a survivor feels is an overwhelming wave of emotions. It can hit like a tidal wave, sweeping through every part of you. Shock, relief, anger, sadness, and even confusion often arrive all at once, sometimes in rapid succession. The emotional impact is intense because the confession confirms what your heart and mind already suspected but may not have had proof of. It's a moment that validates your experience while simultaneously reopening wounds you thought were healing. The immediate reaction can be disbelief. You might hear the words and think, "Is this really happening? Did they just admit it?" It's natural to question the authenticity of their confession, especially if you've spent years being manipulated and gaslit. Your brain struggles to reconcile the person you knew, the one who smiled, charmed, and convinced you of their love, with the reality of their actions. This cognitive dissonance can feel destabilizing, as if the foundation of your past interactions is suddenly shaking. Anger often follows closely behind disbelief. You may feel furious at the narcissist for the manipulation, for the lies, and for the countless ways they undermined your confidence. You might feel frustrated that it took so long for them to admit the truth, or that they never showed genuine remorse earlier. This anger is a healthy response. It is your mind and body asserting that what happened was not acceptable and that your boundaries were violated. Allowing yourself to feel this anger without shame is a crucial part of processing the emotional impact. Sadness and grief are also deeply present in these moments. You grieve the time lost, the energy spent, and the trust that was broken. You may mourn the relationship you thought you had, the shared moments you believed were genuine, and the person you once were before the manipulation eroded your self-confidence. Grief is a natural accompaniment to any realization of betrayal. It is the mind's way of processing loss and recalibrating your understanding of reality. Relief, though often unexpected, can coexist with these darker emotions. There is a strange comfort in finally having confirmation of your experiences. For years, you may have questioned yourself, wondering if you had misread situations or overreacted. The confession removes that doubt, offering a sense of validation. This relief does not negate your pain, but it does mark a turning point, a moment where clarity emerges from confusion and truth begins to restore a sense of reality. Confusion is another common reaction. Even though you might have suspected or known on some level that the narcissist was manipulative, hearing it articulated aloud can create a whirlwind of mental processing. You replay past interactions, searching for signs you may have missed, or questioning whether there were moments of genuine connection. This mental spinning is exhausting, but it is part of understanding the full scope of what occurred and integrating it into your own narrative. It's also common for survivors to experience self-doubt, even after the confession. You might question why you stayed, why you tolerated certain behaviors, or why you didn't see things sooner. It's essential to remember that narcissists are highly skilled at manipulation. Your reactions were shaped by a person whose primary goal was to control, confuse, and destabilize you. Recognizing this helps shift the focus from self-blame to understanding the dynamics of manipulation and abuse. Physical responses often accompany these emotional waves. You may feel tension, fatigue, headaches, or even a sense of nausea as your body processes the intensity of the revelation. Emotional trauma is not only mental, it manifests physically. Paying attention to these responses and giving yourself space to rest, breathe, and recover is crucial. Ignoring the physical impact can prolong emotional distress and make processing the confession more difficult. Finally, the emotional impact is not only about pain, it is also an opportunity for growth. Each emotion, whether anger, grief, relief, or confusion, offers insight into your own resilience and capacity to survive. Processing these feelings allows you to set firmer boundaries, trust your instincts more fully, and reclaim a sense of control over your life. The confession of a narcissist is never easy to hear, but it can serve as a mirror, reflecting both the harm done and the strength you possess to heal, rebuild, and move forward with clarity and self-respect. When a narcissist finally confesses to the harm they caused, it can trigger a deep process of self-reflection. You may find yourself looking back over the relationship, examining your own responses, choices, and boundaries. This reflection is not about blame, it's about understanding. It's about taking a clear look at the ways you were manipulated, the patterns that allowed it to happen, and the ways you can reclaim control moving forward. One of the first realizations during self-reflection is how often you ignored your own instincts. Narcissists are experts at gaslighting, creating confusion, and convincing you that your perceptions are faulty. Hearing the confession makes it clear that your instincts were valid all along. You may notice times when your gut told you something was off, but you brushed it aside because the narcissist was persuasive, charming, or intimidating. Recognizing this is empowering because it reinforces the importance of trusting yourself in the future. Self-reflection also involves examining your boundaries. Many survivors realize that they allowed the narcissist to overstep limits in ways they normally wouldn't tolerate. The confession highlights these breaches and encourages you to ask important questions. Where did I give away my power? Where did I fail to enforce my limits? And perhaps most importantly, what boundaries will I never compromise again? This process can feel uncomfortable because it forces you to face difficult truths about your past behavior, but it is essential for healing. Healing often begins alongside self-reflection. As you process the confession, you may feel a mix of relief and sorrow. Relief comes from finally having confirmation of the truth. Sorrow comes from understanding the depth of the manipulation and the time lost to it. Healing is about allowing yourself to feel these emotions fully without judgment. It is about acknowledging your pain while also recognizing that the narcissist's behavior is a reflection of their own pathology, not your worth or value as a person. An important part of this healing process is reframing your experience. Rather than seeing yourself as a victim, you can begin to see yourself as a survivor who navigated an incredibly challenging situation. This shift in perspective changes the narrative from one of helplessness to one of strength. You begin to appreciate the resilience it took to endure the manipulation, the courage it took to leave or set boundaries, and the wisdom gained from surviving someone who was deeply deceptive. Self-reflection also allows you to identify patterns that may have made you vulnerable. Perhaps you have a history of attracting controlling people, or maybe your empathy made you susceptible to manipulation. Recognizing these patterns is not about blame, it's about preparation. Understanding how and why you were drawn into this dynamic equips you to avoid similar situations in the future and strengthens your ability to choose relationships that are healthy and mutually respectful. Another aspect of healing is forgiving yourself. Many survivors carry guilt, shame, or regret for having been involved with a narcissist. They may feel that they should have seen the signs sooner or acted differently. The confession helps you understand that this was never your fault. Narcissists are skilled manipulators, and even the most perceptive person can be deceived. Forgiving yourself is a critical step in breaking free from lingering self-blame and stepping into a space of self-compassion. Healing is not linear. You may find that even after the confession, you experience waves of doubt, anger, or sadness. This is normal. True healing involves giving yourself permission to experience these emotions without letting them define you. It's about integrating the lessons learned, strengthening your boundaries, and reclaiming your sense of self. Over time, the confession becomes a tool for growth rather than a source of ongoing pain. Self-reflection and healing also invite you to reconnect with your own needs, desires, and values. After living under manipulation, many survivors feel disconnected from themselves. The confession provides an opportunity to rediscover who you are apart from the influence of the narcissist. You begin to prioritize your emotional health, your goals, and your relationships in ways that nurture rather than diminish you. Ultimately, the combination of self-reflection and healing transforms the experience of the narcissist's confession. What initially feels overwhelming, shocking, or painful becomes a chance to reclaim clarity, confidence, and agency. It allows you to integrate the lessons from the past, strengthen your sense of self, and move forward with a deeper understanding of your own resilience. This process is slow, challenging, and deeply human, but it is also profoundly empowering. When a narcissist finally confesses, it might feel like a relief, but it's important to approach it with caution. Not every confession is genuine. Often it can be layered with manipulation, carefully designed to control how you feel or to influence the outcome in their favor. The truth is that a confession from a narcissist can be more about their needs than about acknowledging the pain they caused you. Recognizing the red flags is essential to protect your emotional well-being. One common red flag is minimization. A narcissist may admit to certain actions, but immediately downplay their impact. They might say things like, "I didn't really mean it that way," or "it wasn't as bad as you think." This minimizes your feelings and subtly shifts the focus from their behavior to your reaction. It can make you second-guess yourself once again, even though their manipulation was real and harmful. Being aware of this tactic helps you maintain clarity and trust your own experience. Another warning sign is shifting blame. Even in a confession, a narcissist may frame themselves as the victim, suggesting that your behavior caused their actions. They might say things like, "I only did it because you made me feel this way," or "I wouldn't have acted like that if you hadn't." This is a classic move to avoid true accountability. It's their way of rewriting the narrative so that responsibility is diluted, making it harder for you to feel fully validated. Recognizing this pattern prevents you from being drawn back into their manipulative thinking. Some narcissists use overly dramatic apologies as a form of manipulation. They may confess with tears, grand gestures, or excessive verbal remorse that seems almost performative. While it might feel like genuine contrition, it can be designed to elicit sympathy, reduce your anger, or convince you to forgive them prematurely. The drama can distract you from the reality of their actions and from the fact that they may not be changing their behavior. Learning to distinguish performance from genuine remorse is a vital skill in navigating their confession. A confession can also contain selective honesty. They may admit to certain behaviors while omitting others, controlling how much of the truth is revealed. This selective acknowledgement keeps you off balance. You might feel partially validated, but still struggle with lingering doubts or unanswered questions. This incomplete honesty allows them to manage the situation on their terms while keeping you emotionally tethered to them. Being aware that a confession can be incomplete helps you maintain perspective and avoid falling into the trap of partial trust. Another subtle red flag is appealing to your emotions. A narcissist may confess in a way that triggers guilt, compassion, or sympathy. They might say things like, "I regret hurting you so much," while framing themselves as misunderstood or wronged in other ways. This is a way to manipulate your emotional response and can make it tempting to forgive them before you are ready or before it is safe. Understanding that these appeals may be tactical helps you maintain emotional boundaries and clarity. It's also common for narcissists to confuse timing with sincerity. Just because a confession comes after a long delay does not mean it is authentic. Sometimes they confess only when it benefits them, perhaps to repair a reputation, avoid consequences, or regain access to control. Recognizing that timing can be strategic rather than heartfelt is important in evaluating the true intent behind their words. You are not obligated to accept or internalize a confession simply because it is finally spoken. When a narcissist finally confesses, it marks the end of one chapter, but it also signals the beginning of another, your journey forward. Moving forward is not about forgetting or excusing what happened. It's about reclaiming your life, your energy, and your emotional well-being. It is the process of taking the power back from someone who tried to control it, and of stepping into a space where your experiences and feelings are acknowledged and respected. The first step in moving forward is acknowledging your own strength. You survived manipulation, deceit, and emotional abuse, and that survival speaks to your resilience. Even if the confession brings up old wounds, it is proof that you endured, adapted, and maintained your sense of self under extremely challenging circumstances. Recognizing your strength is essential because it shifts the focus from the narcissist's power to your own agency. It's a reminder that your worth is independent of how they treated you. A crucial part of moving forward is rebuilding trust in yourself. Narcissists are masters at making others doubt their perceptions, memories, and feelings. After a confession, you may still feel cautious, questioning if your instincts were right or if you misjudged situations in the past. Moving forward means trusting yourself again, listening to your intuition, honoring your emotions, and allowing your experiences to guide your decisions. Your insight has been tested, and now it can serve as a compass for healthier relationships and choices. Setting firm boundaries is another essential step. Moving forward is about learning from the past and establishing limits that protect your emotional well-being. You may need to define what behavior is unacceptable and what is non-negotiable in your interactions. Boundaries are not walls. They are tools for self-preservation and self-respect. They allow you to engage with others safely while ensuring that past patterns of manipulation do not repeat themselves. Part of moving forward involves processing lingering emotions in a way that is safe and constructive. Even after a confession, feelings of anger, sadness, or betrayal can persist. Rather than suppressing these emotions, moving forward means allowing yourself to experience them fully, understanding what they are telling you, and then finding ways to release or transform them. Journaling, therapy, meditation, or supportive conversations with trusted people can help turn these emotions into fuel for healing rather than sources of continued pain. Moving forward also includes reframing the narrative. You get to decide how the story of your experience is told, not the narcissist. Instead of defining yourself through the lens of their manipulation, you define yourself as a survivor who learned, grew, and reclaimed control. This reframing is powerful because it shifts the focus from what was done to you to what you are doing for yourself. It's a transition from being a participant in someone else's drama to being the author of your own story. Forgiveness, if it comes, should be for yourself, not the narcissist. Moving forward does not require reconciliation or absolution for the person who hurt you. Rather, it's about releasing the emotional hold they still have over you. Holding on to resentment can prolong pain and keep you tethered to the past. Letting go, in this sense, is a gift you give to yourself. It frees up space, energy, and mental clarity for rebuilding your life. Part of this journey is also reconnecting with your desires, goals, and joy. Narcissistic abuse often distracts or diverts attention from your own needs. Moving forward means prioritizing what brings fulfillment and meaning into your life. Whether it's pursuing passions, nurturing healthy relationships, or exploring new experiences, this phase is about rediscovering who you are without interference or manipulation. Finally, moving forward is about owning your story with confidence. It's about knowing that your experiences, feelings, and lessons are valid. You can reflect on the past without being trapped by it. You can acknowledge the pain without letting it define your future. Every step forward is a reclaiming of your emotional freedom, your clarity, and your self-respect. The confession of a narcissist, while significant, does not dictate your journey. Your choices do. This process takes time, patience, and self-compassion. It's not linear, and there will be moments of doubt or difficulty. But moving forward is ultimately about stepping into a life where your voice matters, your feelings are honored, and your sense of self is no longer contingent on someone else's manipulations. It is the ultimate act of reclaiming your power, and it is entirely within your reach. In the end, when a narcissist finally confesses, it is not just a revelation of their actions. It is a mirror that reflects your own resilience, courage, and growth. Their words may bring shock, anger, sadness, or even relief, but they do not define you. What matters most is how you choose to respond, how you reclaim your sense of self, and how you move forward with clarity and strength. This moment, as difficult as it may be, can become a turning point. It is an opportunity to validate your experiences, honor your feelings, and set the boundaries that protect your well-being. It is a chance to rebuild trust in yourself, to release lingering pain, and to refocus on your own journey of healing and growth. Remember, their confession is about them, but your healing is about you. You survived, you endured, and you learned. And now, with self-awareness and self-compassion, you can step into a life that reflects your worth, your clarity, and your power. No one's manipulation can take that away. You are the author of your story, and your next chapter is yours to write.